Greetings, cinephiles. Are you looking for a movie analysis podcast that stands above the rest? Then look no further than Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters.
We analyze good movies, we analyze bad movies, and yes, we also analyze the in-betweens of the world of cinema.
So if you like what you hear, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And yes, my friends, we are 420 friendly. So when you listen to us,
Smoke it if you've got it.
And now, here's a new episode of Collateral Gaming. The show starts right now.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Bo Maddox.
And this is Collateral Gaming. Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. We are podcasting straight from Houston, Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it. And welcome to what was originally part 2 of our spooky month content. We're kind of halfway through November now, but all the same, here we are to finally wrap up spooky season, I guess. And we are talking about Silent Hill F. Isn't that right, Bo?
Yes, and I have to tell you, I am actually quite excited to finally be talking about this one. This game was fascinating to me in so many ways, much like in our Amazing Spider-Man episode, that movie was very fascinating to me. This one was fascinating in many, many other ways. So, yeah, this game is just straight up a Silent Hill game all the way through and through. Like, I don't know what all the haters are saying about this. I mean, this is pretty much on par with like the best of the series. I mean, it's not perfect, but I mean, it's definitely. I like what I saw. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
What a great way for Konami to finally deliver on this franchise. I mean, we got this standout that was Silent Hill 2 Remake. But the question was, can we get original content that is good? And there was a lot of skepticism, as this particular fandom is wont to do. It's like they want a Silent Hill game to be bad. And sure enough, if I had 2 nickels for every time Silent Hill fans were worried that the new modern game would suck and wanted it to suck only for it to actually be good, well, I'd have 2 nickels. But it's kind of funny it happened twice.
Exactly. I mean, the haters, they were going to glom on this game one way or the other. I mean, the moment that we saw the original teaser, it's just like, oh yeah, if they complained about most everything in Silent Hill 2 Remake, then I mean, they weren't going to like this game in the first place. But I mean, I'm fine with it though. I'm fine with seeing the capital G gamers just kind of get another L here, you know?
For real. It's like, yeah, like they were looking for reasons to hate before the game even fucking came out. They would just see something in a clip and be like, oh, it looks like it's going to be too action heavy, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I mean, this is a little bit more of an action-focused game than some of the entries of the franchise, but I would not compare this to something like Homecoming. I really feel like this game is actually more in the spirit of the original 4 Silent Hill games developed by Team Silent. It's the closest we've gotten to that from a brand new entry since Silent Hill 4.
Right on. And to your point, what's interesting is that a lot of people were calling this a Souls-like game right off the bat. And I mean, I'm not really sure if that's entirely accurate.
It's not a Souls-like. It is a game with some Souls-like elements. And that's something that can apply to a lot of games. That's something like Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is not a Souls-like. It's a game with some Souls-like elements. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor. They're not true Souls-likes. They're games with Souls-like elements. I've even heard some people refer to Wukong as such, and I'd probably call that an outright Souls-like if you're my honest opinion. But No, this is an action-adventure game. Actually, it's a survival horror game through and through that has utilized some of these elements. And I think that it's used them to great effect. This is an evolution of the franchise while still adhering closely to the aesthetic, the tone, and the general feeling that this series evokes, especially in those classic entries.
And it's also nice to actually see the developers actually be able to really make an intrinsically Japanese game in this franchise for once, but still actually, have a through line that still makes it feel like a Silent Hill game. Like you have the other world that you go to, you have the symbolism of all the monsters that you're fighting, and then you have the protagonist who is going through some type of psychological spell or whatever. This is through and through a Silent Hill game, but it's a very, very, very Japanese story. And something that is, very, very intrinsic to its period that is being portrayed here, which is 1960s Japan. This is a period piece for once. But it still has everything that you would expect from Silent Hill. But they actually incorporated Japanese culture and the Shinto religion into that, as opposed to like the more Gnostic Christianity that was that the original 4 games were more or less based upon.
And about time, too, because I really wanted to see where this franchise could go, where we could take these concepts in different settings. If Silent Hill happens if the Silent Hill phenomena happens in Silent Hill, Maine, what happens in other parts of the world? Because obviously we're dealing with a world where these supernatural things exist, and we already know this isn't the first game to take the setting outside of that town, but it is the first one to take it out of America, and so it does represent a bold new take on the franchise. And I think at first you're going to notice a lot of the differences, but moving into the game and as you work your way through the first couple hours, it really hits. You're like, no, this is a Silent Hill game, but they've added quite a few new things to just really kind of make it fresh, and I really think that that's what they needed to do. Surprisingly, we're actually working with a relatively new developer here, someone who, from my understanding, NeoBards Entertainment does not have a lot of work under their belt as as a solo developer, but more so served in a supporting role in a lot of things. So again, kind of seems like a questionable decision, like when Bloober Team was tasked with doing Silent Hill 2, and yet they delivered, and NeoBards delivered on this. So evidently, we're hiring the right teams of people. I know part of that also included Ryukishi 07, who is, the author of the visual novels Higurashi.
Yeah, that is what really piqued my interest initially when I heard that this game was being developed. Ryukishi, if you've actually read into Higurashi in any way, just the way that he built that storyline to like loop and loop and loop until finally like the curse is broken and everything.
Yeah.
And just the deeply psychological elements of all of that he played with to full effect. Yeah, it's all here, man. And it's good that we got him as the main writer of this, especially when with PT, we were promised Junji Ito potentially writing a story for that particular game that never happened. And we were robbed of something truly special there. Junji Ito, he is a true master of horror. But Ryukishi 07, he knows how to craft a really pervasive and psychologically challenging horror story. So, this was in good hands.
Yeah,
from the get-go.
No, Ryukishi is actually was great, a great match for the Silent Hill franchise. Like you mentioned, Bo, I think he really dives deep into that. Not only the psychological horror aspect, but even, kind of the more loopy aspects. Of course, we're going to keep this spoiler-free. I know we're a couple months out from the release, but this was intended as a game launch review, so we'll stay away from spoilers. But I did notice a lot of similar thematic elements that I found upon analysis of the Silent Hill 2 remake that I think that they're diving a little bit deeper here. And of course, you're not going to realize the extent of that until you play through the game more than once. I played through and got the first ending. I've watched the other endings on YouTube just to be fully prepared, even though we're not going to talk about them. And yeah, I had a great experience with this. I remember the first time I booted up this game, I was hooked, and I played this game all day. And I remember just feeling like, yeah, this is Silent Hill. I mean, the story's got the right amount of intrigue and mystery and vagueness, and you're not really going to understand it even once you complete it through one time.
Exactly. And another interesting thing about the setting of the story, namely the characters within the story, is that this time around they're all teenagers. They're or at least they're presented as teenagers more or less. So we're getting a story from a younger protagonist. I know that Heather was quite young when she went through her ordeal in Silent Hill 3, but here it's like there's not really any adults that are actually germane to the story other than Hinako's parents, you know? So
and the fox mask.
And the fox, well, the fox mask I think is implied to be kind of a boy himself. He's implied to be kind of younger, but I mean, it's interesting to see how younger people would actually respond to something like a ginormous fog monster coming at you and you having to do a Crash Bandicoot get away from it. I mean, I mean, it's a good way to kind of have different voices and different perspectives within the Silent Hill franchise in that way.
Yeah.
You know, especially story-wise.
And I think exploring high school characters is also really interesting because it's, again, kind of a first for the series. Usually, short of, like you mentioned, Heather, but usually we focus on more adult-type characters, so that's another bold, new, fresh thing that we're doing. And they found ways to incorporate that into the story, in, the feelings, the angst, the complicated relationships between teenagers are actually focal points of the story. And also their genders play a large role into that as well.
Yes, this definitely has something to say about the gender politics of the time that's presented here, like unequivocally. I mean, mainly in the way that Hinako's, what's the word? Her anxiety about growing up and about entering womanhood and adulthood. I mean, it's written all over this story, especially as usual with Silent Hill, in the way that the enemies are designed. And I gotta say, there's some really, really interesting stuff going on with some of these enemies and how it portrays Hinako's anxieties about becoming a woman, about the role that women play in her society at that time, about what's how she views marriage in general and everything, or relationships, or just being an adult in general. I mean, it's written all over this game, much like previous games. I mean, there's no pyramid head. There's no pyramid head here, but there is a pyramid head level bit of symbolism going on with a lot of the later characters.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and in place of the sadosexual creatures that we saw in Silent Hill 2, we have a very different kind of monster archetype here, presented that I think are in line with not only a teenager but a teenage woman, and her coming into adulthood and whatnot. The monster designs are quite good, especially the bosses. I did wish there was a little bit more variety, especially as you near the end of the game. I started to feel like there weren't that many enemy types, but in fact, sometimes they introduce a new enemy in the other world, in the what do they call it, the Fog Town and the Night Shrine or something.
It shows up in the Dark Shrine.
Yeah, they actually reintroduce characters as like Dark Shrine enemies, but it's like it's the same enemy, just like the Dark Shrine version.
Yeah, pretty much. It just has a different texture and a different maybe a different little bit of visual symbolism going on in the Dark Shrine area. But I mean, I just want to say that the Dark Shrine area itself is an interesting way for them to present the Silent Hills trademark otherworld in a Japanese context. I mean, here, it's this really imposing and dark, but yet really beautiful Shinto shrine. I mean, and it's steeped in the culture of Japan and steeped in that religion, and
yes.
So as opposed to, you know, in the American towns in Silent Hill in America, it's very grimy and industrial and abandoned and kind of run down. It's almost like late stage capitalism in a way.
Yeah.
Not to bring something like that into it, but here it's a lot more germane, not only to the culture, but also to Hinako's experience, you know, because I mean, it's meant to be the place where she undergoes all the rituals, which very much have that kind of quality, much like marriage, you know, or like Shinto marriage. There's a lot of symbolism of that in this game, and especially in the Dark Shrine area. You know, I mean, heck, even one of the weapons that she uses in the Dark Shrine is emblematic of her place in Japanese society at that time, or what she was expected, because she uses a naginata. And, you know, naginata, those were intrinsically weapons that that in samurai households, the wife of the household, she would be the one that would be trained in that, and that's what she would use to defend the house. So I mean, there's even that angle to it, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and from a gameplay perspective, the Dark Shrine sections are different. In previous Silent Hill games, they almost kind of went for a vibe where the Otherworld was more of a gradual shift, and sometimes you may not even really realize whether you were in the Fog Town or the Otherworld, and they would play with that a little bit. But here, they are very distinctly different, not only in terms of aesthetic, but in terms of the gameplay. You know, while you do face the same types of enemies, there are noticeable differences, like, for instance, the fact that the enemies respawn unless defeated in certain ways that you won't get until later on the course of the game. So it actually becomes even more of a tactical approach of, you know, whether or not to fight enemies or, you know, pursue them, because you're wasting your resources. Now in the Dark Shrine, you don't have the weapon durability, and we'll touch on aspects of the gameplay and combat later on that. But in the Dark Shrine, actually, you have fixed weapons that don't degrade over time, and you can use them. And the first one you get isn't really necessarily a very good weapon, but, you know, it's there. And then you get the naginata, which is better, and then you get an even really better cool item that replaces cool weapon that replaces everything by the end of the game. And I'll stay away from spoiling exactly what that is, but yeah, they managed to make these sections feel quite a bit different and have just a whole different like level of tension to them. And so you're always kind of kept on your toes, and it follows that traditional Silent Hill format where you're switching between the Fog Town and the Dark Shrine, and you're alternating between these sections. But you know, what's unclear is exactly what's going on with Hinako and how much information is being pertained, and is this even the same Hinako? Or, you know, what's going on? Is this some kind of dream or what?
Yeah, and it's really interesting how that's unveiled throughout the game story and everything. You know, especially in the Dark Shrine scenes. It's like I mean, we're not going to spoil what happens, but there's like we said, there's at least rituals that are very, very important and very symbolic.
Yeah,
you know,
you'll see all of the core characters represented here. And by the way, we hadn't talked about them yet, but as you mentioned, Bo, they're all teenagers. I mean, you have Hinako, the main character, her partner Aibo, Shih, who is her childhood friend that they've been playing Space Wars together since they were kids, and one core, you know, facet of their relationship is that he doesn't see her as a woman. He sees her as another boy. And there's another girl, Rinko, who has a crush on Shih, and Rinko has some complicated feelings about her friend Hinako. And then we have the autistic icon Sakuko. A piece of information you only find out if you go back to her house with the mailbox key from her shrine. But oh man,
Sakuko. Sakuko deserved better, man.
She did.
She deserved better. And I mean, one of the things that I have a little headcanon is that maybe she had a little crush on Hinako herself, because I don't know, like some of her dialogue whenever she's talking to Hinako is kind of leans that way to me a little bit.
Sure, you know? I can see what you're saying
especially especially when you start to understand the underlying themes of the game as the story moves forward. Then you're just like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
And as you delve into the dark shrine and kind of explore what might be these characters' true feelings, or maybe that's just Hinako's what Hinako imagines that they think about her. It's not really clear. It's not really clear how much Hinako's own feelings pertain to herself. Because she definitely treats her friends in different ways between these situations. But yeah, it is a really, really cool kind of just switching between these and learning more about these characters. But the one thing I did want to make sure we talked about here, of course, was the gameplay differences. And we kind of touched on it earlier, but one of the big things in this game that has been added to the gameplay is weapon durability. And that fits in nicely with the survival horror genre, and especially with Silent Hill's use of limited resources. So now, your weapon is just one more of those. And it kind of makes sense because there are no firearms in this game. It's all melee weapons. So they had to kind of figure out some way to balance that. I know some people are going to bitch because you add something like weapon durability to a franchise that didn't have it before, aka Zelda. People are going to bitch about it, but I think it works really well here. In fact, to be honest, I played this game on hard difficulty, both combat and puzzle, and I actually found the game gave me way more weapons and weapon repair kits that I could actually hold on to. So I didn't struggle that much with it. But it does add a little bit more tension, and you have to think carefully about what weapons you use and when, and whether or not you can dodge this enemy and avoid, because now you're not only handling your typical things like your health resources and whatnot, but you're also having to manage the weapon durability. You're having to manage your health. There are two new gauges that have been added to the series for the first time: the stamina and the sanity gauge. And so you're having to manage all of these things.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, to your point about the weapon durability, it makes a lot of sense that they went with that because there's no firearms in this game. I mean, for one, that makes a lot of sense because it's Japan. Japan was disarmed by that point in the 60s, and firearm ownership was pretty much made illegal at that point. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that there's not going to be firearms in this village,
right?
In Ibisugaoka. But also, I mean, it kind of acts like, ammo in a sense, like the scarcity of ammo, because you really have to kind of think about, how many more hits is it going to take before this bat or this knife or this pipe breaks and everything. It's very much like having to look after your ammo count in something like Resident Evil.
Right.
It's something that's limiting enough, but I mean, it's still more or less accessible, because you find weapons all over the place in this game, like you said, and there's even an in-game lore version for it because of the local the local shrine god that the fox god that they worship. Apparently, it's something to do with a Japanese belief in the divine, like the divine spiritual power of tools and everything. I forget
and I believe there's lore that mentions that this is actually unique to Ibisugaoka, that they offer their worn tools in they offer their used tools in ritual to Inari-sama, the fox god, and so
apparently that is an actual concept in Japanese culture. I think it was called Tsukagogami or something like that, I believe it was called. I mean, forgive me if I butchered that, but it's really cool that even the choice of weapons and even the weapon durability, it actually makes a lot of sense if you really think about it for a little bit.
So who would win, a bunch of fucking ghoulish monsters or one high school girl with steel pipe?
One high school, she's got pipe. She has a lead pipe now. No, I love that her model, her actress and everything, she's been playing the game on YouTube and everything. And she actually changed her bio to say, "I have a lead pipe now." At first it said, "I do not have a pipe." And then it's just like, "Now I have a pipe."
Yeah, Konatsu
so
Kato.
like, all right.
I love her.
Dude, yeah, she's cool, man. She's awesome. I mean, and even Rinko's actress was playing through it as well.
Oh, fuck Rinko. All my homies hate
Fuck Rinko.
If Rinko
We all hate
has
Rinko.
one hater, it's me. If Rinko has 0 haters, I'm dead. Rinko is a terrible character and a terrible boss battle.
Oh my God, Rinko is just. I'm like there's moments where she's just saying shit and it's like Hinako's right there, bitch.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Slight spoiler: you fight your
Jesus.
friends as monsters in the nightmare world. But yeah, Rinko was, oh my God. Actually, you know what? I was really struggling with that fight and I couldn't get through it, and I was yelling and frustrated, and I would turn on the game and try to fight a little bit, and I felt like I was learning the patterns, but I just some unfair shit would happen to me. The Sakuko fight was no cakewalk either, but oh my God, the Rinko fight, that blew me over the edge. And then I booted up the game and it updated before I did, and I was like, okay, I guess they have a new update. Come to find out, I look on Facebook later, they actually adjusted the combat difficulty. They added a whole new casual combat difficulty mode, but I didn't even have to end up changing the difficulty settings because I refused to. I absolutely was not going to do that because you can't go back once you do. And I've played all the game on hard up to that point. I wasn't about to go back. And I do recommend playing it on hard. I feel like on story, I think every time you go to a shrine, it automatically refills your health and sanity. And I'm like, no, I actually kind of like that I had to manage it and think about it. But anyway, so, but not only did they add a new difficulty setting, but they did actually adjust some of the combat difficulty. And that boss fight was slightly easier, I felt like. And I had a less difficult time with the other boss fights. Oh my God, the final boss fight? You want to hear a story? All right, I connected with this. Okay, it's not the most difficult fight in the game. I feel like the Rinko fight, the Sakuko fight, and the fight with the other two that you fight at once were much harder. But that final fight, though, I remember I died a couple times, and I was like, you know what? I'm too tired. I'm going to come back to this. So I come back to it the next night. By the time I had decided to tackle on the final fight once and for all, I had gotten the most soul-crushing message from a girl. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to open it and read it right now. You know what? I'm going to lock in and I'm going to play fucking Silent Hill F and I'm going to beat this game. And I'm going to beat this boss in one try. And I did. I locked the fuck in.
Bro did it, man. He did it.
I did it.
My man. That is awesome.
Yeah,
man.
and then they kind of throw a little Metroid sequence at the end there, and I remember it was just so exhilarating. It was actually a great time to finish this game.
That's a good story. Shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this game, yeah, it will test your limits. There's a little bit of that Souls-like quality to it. As the combat is hard, there's a big emphasis on dodging and parrying and whatnot. They've added a whole new stamina meter, and out of all the gauges, that's actually the one you want to prioritize upgrading when you can, because you can't dodge and you can't attack unless you have stamina. So that's another thing you have to think about. Do I want to wail on this enemy until I'm out of stamina, or do I want to leave a little bit so I can dodge if I need to? And if you dodge at just the right time and you do a perfect dodge, you'll restore all your stamina in one go. And there are items that can replenish it or prevent you from losing some, but it is another resource that you have to manage that's really important. The other one is sanity. That's a whole new mechanic that's been added. And what this does is it's a little gauge that only depletes while you're holding down the left trigger, which allows you to focus on enemies, slowing down time and actually giving you more time to exploit their weaknesses during counterattacks, because that's another thing. The enemy will flash red when they're ready for a counterattack. You hit the heavy attack button, and you'll actually do a super powerful attack, but it's timing, and that timing is made a little bit easier with the focus, but it gradually depletes your sanity while you do it. Also, while you're in focus mode, you can execute an attack, a strong attack that actually will stun the enemy for a little bit. But it actually ends up using part of your max sanity to where that stamina will no longer replenish on its own until you increase your max sanity again. The same thing happens if an enemy attacks you while you happen to be focusing on them. So it's a thing that you have to keep in mind. And so you have to keep items on hand. And when you go to a shrine, you can enshrine items to get faith back and use that to restore your sanity. But you also want to stockpile that faith, because that's what's going to allow you to pass on passive effects via the Onamori or upgrade your character stats.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to ask. What did you think about the actual skill progression in this game so far? The actual mechanic itself.
I like it because it's very much a survival horror game in that you are rewarded by exploring. If you go down every little corridor, you're going to find the things that you need. There are specific items called Emma that you need in order to actually permanently increase your character stats. Along with a lot of faith, and you have to make decisions because your healing items can be relinquished and enshrined in order to create more faith, but you might want to use them as healing items too. And also, your inventory space is limited. That's another thing. And there are items that you can find in the world that can increase your inventory space, but you're stuck with what you have until you find those. So you have to, you really have to manage all these systems. But I thought that the skill progression was quite good. It's simple. It's straightforward, and it worked really well with the survival horror elements.
That's interesting. Right on.
Cargo 1 to HQ. We haven't found a suspect at the scene. It's so good, but it's still no water. We better consider the hunt. Over. Last seen fleeing to Neoshi Shrine. Exercise extreme caution.
You saved my life and laid claim to my soul. In turn, I shall save your souls by claiming the life of your old self.
Who was that? What is this place?
This way.
We better get going.
A good day is always an extraordinary day. An extraordinary day is an always good day. With that in mind, today's a bit too extraordinary.
So this is where you are. I wondered where you had gone. You need to start getting ready. It's time to say your goodbyes. You're going to kill them with your own hands. What's going on? No, it's got my home too. The halls, the doors, everything's changed. Tell me, who are you? Please. Just die.
It must be hard for you to bid farewell to childhood friends.
Yes. No. It had to be done. As soon as I could.
But it can be a punishing experience, but it can also be rewarding. I know some people felt that the combat was a little bit clunky. Actually, not some people. It's deliberately clunky. I mean, that's actually part of what makes Silent Hill, and we've talked about that before. But protagonists are generally not, except for the ones that are military. But most of them are supposed to be your everyman, and Hinako even more so. I mean, James in Silent Hill 2 remake could actually be kind of a powerhouse sometimes. But Hinako is through and through a high school girl, and that shows. And so that combat is a little bit clunky. I know some people weren't too great about the physics and felt that the weapon swinging was a little floaty and didn't feel like it kind of quite like it hit quite right. But other than that, I mean, I don't have any issues with the combat. I know that it's designed to be clunky. I know that that's the point. And it's something that you kind of just have to get good, but there are going to be those bullshit times where you're like, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it does have some of those Souls elements. I mean, specifically, like I mentioned, the dodging based combat, and even like the little checkpoint systems that you go to. But the game also features more checkpoints than those specific ones, the Inari shrines. But yeah, I really felt like it was a great way to kind of freshen up the whole experience, and I felt that combat had a little bit more fluidity and a little bit more going on than it did in Silent Hill 2 Remake.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, Hinako she's a teenage girl. I mean, what are you gonna do exactly? She's only gonna swing the pipe as hard as she can until you start to actually, build up your skills and everything. But yeah, I mean that's always been something to expect from Silent Hill. I mean, it was always better to use melee weapons, even all the way back in the first game. And of course there wasn't any weapon durability there, but I mean, it's good that they actually found a way to kind of progress that particular gameplay mechanic and actually kind of refine it and make it actually make sense within the context of the game itself.
Yeah. And they've overhauled a lot of things. I mean, even the way that item management works. Instead of opening up a pause menu and scrolling through things, it's all done via these shortcuts that you set yourself. So you collect items, you set them to shortcuts, and then, you can cycle through them and use them right there in real time. So, that's another way that this game kind of really puts on a whole fresh coat of paint. But at the end of the day, you're playing through this and you're like, nah, this is Silent Hill. When you're in that tight corridor with an enemy that you're trying to figure out if there's a way you can dodge around them or if you're going to have to fight them, And those enemies, oh my God. I mean, they have the telegraphed attacks that you can counter, and those are hard enough because sometimes that timing, window is really, really small. But then they also have these rush attacks. They'll just come at you and land a brutal blow on you that can drain a bunch of health and sanity and kill you if you're not too slow, and has a unique animation where they'll eat Hinako's face or something. But those moments were terrifying. I had moments where enemies just jumped out at me at nowhere, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, you sent me a video of something that you said, like, dude, this dead ass just freaked me out. I had to stop the game, and I mean, it didn't seem to me to be that scary, but I mean, I'm sure that when you're actually into the game, you're getting into the exploration of it all. Like, I mean, jump scares like that, I mean, they'll get you, man. And
well, see, it's late at night. I have all the lights off, and I'm actually was trying to avoid fighting the enemies. I was kind of just trying to go for more of like a stealth approach with this. So I was really trying to not get caught and slip around. So I slip around this enemy and run, and then all of a sudden this other one just falls down from the ceiling on top of me. Some of them jump down from the ceiling. Some of them run at you with these rush attacks from around the corner. 2 times that I recorded a clip where I got genuinely jump scared, and I was like, okay.
I mean, hell, there's even times where you'll open up a door and then there'll just be one of those schoolgirl marionettes there ready to just slice you right as you open it.
Or the scarecrows.
Oh, those scarecrows! Yeah, that was really, really creepy in the rice paddy. Yeah, that was
that whole
creepy.
puzzle. Okay, that pissed a lot of people off because they give you very cryptic clues. So basically, you're in a field of scarecrows. One of them is the one that you're supposed to interact with, and progresses the puzzle. All the other ones are actually enemies, and some of them will actually just attack you on sight, but others will just stand there and wait for you to interact with them. So you don't want to try the trial and error method. I remember watching Video Game Donkey do that, just have like several scarecrows running at him and no weapons to use. You want to try
Christ.
But those riddles are not necessarily easy to figure out. Some of them are very cryptic, and there's going to be a little bit of trial and error with it until you find the right one. But the one thing I will say about that puzzle, I didn't mind it too much, but man, it did wear on. You go through 4 iterations of it, and I was like, really? Like once I got to the 4th one, I was like, really? Did we need to do this 4 times?
And I'm sure that it also took a lot longer if you just keep on having to fight the enemies and everything. I mean, that just adds to the tension. It's just like, oh man, am I interacting with the right scarecrow? It's like,
exactly.
Ugh. Yeah. That's.
I mean, some of the puzzles are really obtuse in true Silent Hill fashion. I mean, namely the box puzzle and the mural puzzle. Those ones pissed me off a little bit because I was like, I kind of figured what it was trying to give it to me, but you have to really kind of like, okay, with the clues that they give you.
I mean, you really just have to read them through and just really just think about them, you know?
Yeah.
And thankfully, I really like the way that this game actually documents everything that you find.
Yes.
You know, you have the Hinako's journal, which you can open up. There's all these illustrations and everything. Like it acts as kind of a bestiary in a way.
Yes.
Like it also it shows her thoughts on all the other characters, you know, especially her friends and whatnot,
and family,
and also her sister, her mom and dad. Is like, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting way to kind of do the traditional silent. The traditional survival horror thing where you have to save everything that you find, you know, and you save all of the notes and every other clue and whatnot. But it was actually a really interesting way to kind of portray that.
Yes, and then there's so much lore to find. It carries through between New Game and New Game Plus, so you may need multiple playthroughs to collect all of the lore. There's probably some that are even exclusive to New Game Plus. But I mean, they're just really kind of trying to piece together the story, and some of it's a little bit more esoteric. Some of it's more of this like knowledge that you're like, okay, how does this pertain? But I thought it was really cool, like reading about these characters, like Hinako's parents, like her sister and her friends. By the way, did you notice how many characters in this game, like all of the female characters, have names ending in ko? And I know that's a common Japanese female suffix. But I found it strange that every single one of them, Hinako, Junko, Sakuko, Rinko.
Exactly. That's something that actually jumped out at me immediately when, like pretty much at the first cinematic. It's like, Renko, Sakuko, Hinako.
Yeah.
It's like, and they're very kind of lilting Japanese names, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of roll, they roll off the tongue, essentially.
And it kind of, knowing that ko is a common female suffix, I think that kind of just carries the impression of these being like more like having kind of more of that stereotypical quality to them as names. I mean, and that's not even going into necessarily like the way that they're written using kanji and whatnot. I'm sure there's a whole history lesson there, but
oh yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, one thing I also noticed too, and I don't know if this is because it's set in 1960s Japan and that's before the convention changed, but I noticed that the characters had their names listed in Eastern order. So it's Shimizu Hinako.
Shimizu Hinako. Yeah. Shimizu Hinako.
Which is the way that you would in Japanese, it would be family name and then given name. But we've actually come to when we Romanize Japanese names, nowadays we usually put them in the right order, but you'll notice that like historical figures will have their names listed in the Eastern order, and then maybe that was something that happened after the 1960s. I'm not too sure, but
possibly I can see that.
Or maybe that's just a stylistic choice. I don't know. I played this game in Japanese too, so I got to notice where they would take liberties. For instance, with the dub or the subtitles, like Hinako would refer to her sister as One-chan, but the subtitles would say Junko.
Yeah, interesting.
Things like that. I mean, but it does kind of. Those are things that are a little bit weird. Like you can't have her saying "big sister," You end up sounding like Alphonse Elric.
Yeah, no kidding. Big brother.
Yeah.
Not that Alphonse is a bad character, but anyway.
Yeah, but I remember that always came across as a little weird. Like, why does he call him brother all the time? Until you realize that it was really set in Japan. Well, it's not set in Japan, but they in the Japanese language and whatever. Anyway, going off on a tangent, but I really enjoyed getting to know all of these characters and kind of see and really just kind of the whole thing that's unfolding, of course, is Hinako's psyche, because no normal person sees this shit going on. You know, the Silent Hill phenomenon happens mostly to fucked up individuals. So here I am kind of thinking, like, what did Hinako do? What is the big plot twist here? And you don't get that until the very end of the ending, and it doesn't even fully spell it out for you. It just gives you enough context clues that you're like, oh,
yeah,
what happened?
I'm going to tell you the truth. That particular ending is not my favorite, and I do not really accept it as my headcanon ending.
Well, from what I understand, yeah, the true ending is the one that you get after completing two or more, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's actually the ending that's kind of more of a good ending. But of course, you know, you have to wonder about how much of it is going on in reality versus in Hinako's head.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As is custom in a Silent Hill game, of course.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm actually excited to play through this game multiple times. I started a new game plus on Lost in the Fog difficulty, and let me tell you, that's hard. You know, because I was used to the whole, like, I was already used to the combat. I was already used to the combat loop. You know, you push yourself into the enemy, you come up, wail, and then dodge. Well, now it was just like one wail and then dodge and get the fuck out, because otherwise you're going to be stuck with no stamina with enemies, you know, hurting you. So, and you can get killed very quickly. So yeah, that Lost in the Fog difficulty is not to be fucked with.
Sounds like it, man. I mean, I know how gamers are with their with difficulty and whatnot, but I mean, this was definitely a game that even the hard mode, I mean, it still feels like there's not that steep of a learning curve to it. You know, like especially once you get the flow of the combat and everything, and how the weapon system works and whatnot. You know.
One thing I can say about this game is that it is streamlined, you know, from the combat to the inventory systems and different systems and whatnot, as well as even like the puzzles and such, you know. I didn't feel like there were as many like items to hold on to that you had to combine and hold, you know, and here's a key to this place and here's the key to usually I was holding maybe like one or maybe two key items at a time, and you don't even have to select it, you know, you just walk up to wherever it goes and it figures out what item you need for that thing. That's kind of not how the puzzles were laid out so much. They kind of took a different approach with that, and again, it's a breath of fresh air, and yet it does still feel like Silent Hill puzzles.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have that esoteric quality to the puzzles, you know, but I mean, you also need accessibility. I mean, there are some games where the puzzles are so hard that, I mean, you will just be like, no, I don't want to go any further with this because I can't figure this out, you know. But
that's where I always say, if you get to that point where you're not having fun or you're ready to give up, I think that's when it's okay to go ahead and look it up on the internet. At least get
exactly. No.
Some of the shit, it's like, okay. Sometimes you kind of really there's a couple times where I needed it spelled out for me, whereas I was mostly right, but you know.
Yeah. But I mean, it's to be expected with a Silent Hill game, and this right here, I mean, the puzzles they still flow in and out of the game well enough, you know. They don't seem to, other than maybe the Scarecrow puzzle, they don't really seem to like slow down the pacing or anything.
No, it's a very well paced game for the most part. You know, there's a couple humps where it's like, okay, yeah, this is sort of dragging, or this is taking too long to fight to conquer this, but I did feel like the game flowed pretty quickly for me. I was moving from environment to environment, and I was like, okay, no, I'm already here. It's like you don't really tend to spend too long in one place, and that's good. And you have some really cool settings, like you have the school. That's kind of a callback to a previous Silent Hill setting, and you have the fields, and you have the Shimizu residence.
Yeah, I like how the Shimizu residence just kind of becomes a little bit of its own labyrinth. Yeah, kind of, you know, as Hinako is kind of finding out some certain things that happened in the past. We start to see, you know, the real relationship between her and her dad and her mom, and how that dynamic works out and everything.
Yeah,
But yeah, I really, really love how it just kind of becomes this weird non-Euclidean place with weird geometry and everything. Like everything starts to kind of break down a little bit.
Yeah, and you have like 3 different versions of the residents, which kind of does harken back to the usual otherworld mechanics that we see, where you'll have like, okay, it's the same place but a little bit different, but it's like a 3-tier world, kind of like they're like different floors. But yeah, that was really cool. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed all the locations in this game. I love the way that the fog monster is taking over this world. Is this weird like red flowery substance that's like, it's like roots coming out of the ground and then coming out of people that it claims as victims.
Yeah, that's a really interesting aesthetic.
Like
Was
like
just all the
tendrils.
flowers. It almost kind of harkens to something like Midsommar, you know, in the ending of that movie where Florence Pugh is just completely covered in flowers. But yeah, these flowers are just kind of just erupting out of some of these monsters, kind of like the cordyceps in like The Last of Us a little bit, you
And
know?
also, a warning if you have trypophobia.
Yeah, no kidding, man. It's like there is a lot of monsters where they just have flowers just kind of sprouting right out of their flesh and everything. But it's creepy, but it's beautiful at the same time.
And it happens very quickly. It's like right as soon as we get introduced to Hinako's friends and their dynamic, right off the bat, this game jumps right into the Silent Hill shit right away, and it never lets go.
Once again, Sakugo deserved better.
Sakugo deserved better. God
She
damn it.
deserved better.
But I guess that's it, unless you had anything else to touch on.
No, I think that would be it.
All right. Well, then let's get into our final thoughts on Silent Hill F, starting with you, Bo.
Yeah, like I said, I found this game extremely fascinating. I mean, I think that it definitely stands up well to a lot of the other more classic Silent Hill games, and also to the recent Silent Hill 2 remake, which, I mean, Bloober Team, they did hit that out of the park, 100%.
For sure.
You know? But this right here, this is a very intrinsically Japanese story. It's an intrinsically feminine story.
True.
And I mean, like I said earlier, it's good to kind of have these type of different perspectives explored in the Silent Hill universe, you know, and especially making it clear that the Silent Hill, the Silent Hill phenomena itself is not necessarily, you know, exclusive to Silent Hill. You know, the idea that you know, this same phenomenon could still happen in a place like Bisugaoka, you know, a nice little sleeping village, which, by the way, I believe that the translation for that is essentially like sleepy or a silent village, you know? So it pretty much is like a Silent Hill or something like that.
Yeah,
it's some type of translation like that.
It kind of actually shares some similarities to Silent Hill, with it being an old mining town, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's an old mining town as well, but I mean, it turned into a fishing village eventually.
Yeah,
So-
it's like this like agricultural village that's kind of separated from the rest of society, very much like Silent Hill, Maine. Which,
Very much. Yeah.
just kind of isolated. So that was really cool. It was a perfect setting for a Silent Hill story. As for me, this is through and through. It's a Silent Hill game. I recommend anybody that has played previous games of this franchise to check it out. It's available on PS5 and Xbox and PC, I believe. I played this on PS5, and I got to say, it looked and played great. I played this in performance mode, and it felt extremely smooth. I felt like I was getting, a consistent 60 frames, and I didn't really notice any frame drops or anything, and it still looked incredible. So, it's a great experience. And it is, while remaining true to what makes Silent Hill, it's a game for a new era. I think it kind of is the perfect follow-up to something like Silent Hill 2, which was the modernification of a classic Silent Hill game. Well, here's a game that definitely harkens back to that old style, but dares to be different. And I really respect the fuck out of it for that. It's a really fun game. It's a great entry point, too. So anybody that wants to check this franchise out, check it out. I did feel like it kind of explored some of the themes that Silent Hill, the short message, did, but better. And I know that game in particular, it was kind of like a free download on PS Plus, and I played through it in one night, and I liked it, but it was kind of more similar to PT, I guess, but a lot of people weren't as happy with the way that they used teenage. That's another game that actually did dive into teenage drama, and that was at the core of the Silent Hill shit that was going on. I think this does that, but better, and places it in that 1960s rural Japanese setting, and marries it to the Shinto and whatnot. It's really, really cool. I fuck with it. I had a blast playing this game, and it was one of my more anticipated games this year. Jumping into this and then Ghost of Yotei right after is also really cool because I'm getting a lot of historical Japanese. I'm getting my historical Japanese fix.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
So hell yeah. But alrighty, I guess that concludes our spoiler-free review of Silent Hill F. Bo, what's going on with Collateral Cinema?
Well, by the time this is released, we should have our Amazing Spider-Man episode out. And also, we should be recording our Lara Croft Tomb Raider episode. We're going to have Megan from Collateral Gaming join us on that. And also, Craig from Reading Between the Reels, he's going to be on that one as well. And then in December, we got Bad Movie December. We have the Buttercream Gang 2. And then we have Cade, The Tortured Crossing. More Neil Breen goodness.
Fuck yes.
And of course, our annual holiday collaboration with the Victims and Villains Abyss Gazing Crew. We're going to be talking about the new Silent Night, Deadly Night movie that will be coming out in, I believe it'll be the 12th of December, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, look for that. And also our post-holiday episode for the director's cut. That's going to be an Adult Swim edition. And we're going to be talking about the holiday episodes of YOLO and Smiling Friends.
Hell yeah. As for our next episode and our planned November content, that will be Ghost of Yotei. Already scheduled to record part 1 with Dan. So stay tuned for that. Part 1 will be our spoiler-free review, and then part 2 will be full spoilers. Hopefully we can get both of those out by the end of November. This month, I also wanted to do a bonus round episode with Megan and you doing game recommendations. So we'll try to have that out. And Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment just came out. And I don't think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I definitely want to do a game launch review on that, even if I'm doing it by myself, because, a new fucking Zelda game just came out. So, of course, I'm going to talk about it.
Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah.
So that's what's planned for November. For December, we'll be getting into, usually this would be our Zelda month, but this upcoming December, Metroid Prime 4 is coming out, and I want to do a 2-part review on it. So again, part 1 will be our spoiler-free review, part 2 will be full spoilers, and then our holiday special will be our Zelda content, where we'll be talking about A Link to the Past. And it's high time that I actually completed that game. It's one of the very few Zelda games I've never finished.
Yeah, same here, honestly. I need to play through that a little more.
I've played quite a bit of it. I've just, for some reason, I've never followed through and actually completed the thing. So that'll be fun to get into. And then, we'll start prepping for next season. We'll have a post-holiday edition of the bonus round where we'll do something Angry Video Game Nerd related. I think we'd be up to season 4 if we're going to continue to do that. But I also know that the AVGN game is coming out, 8-bit games. So I may want to incorporate that into the episode as well. We'll see.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
And we might take a break from doing a season breakdown and just do that for the bonus round this year, honestly. But
that sounds good, actually. I look forward to that. I haven't really played any of the other Angry Video Game Nerd games, so this will be really, really cool.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Stay tuned for that. Of course, we'll have a year in review episode for both Collateral Cinema and Gaming sometime in January. So stay tuned for that. We'll get into all of the games and movies that came out this year, and there were a lot that we didn't get a chance to talk about. So, I have a huge list of games in particular that I'm like, wow, we got so much content this year. We didn't even do a full episode on Expedition 33, but we are going to be covering it later this season, hint, hint. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, you can find Collateral Cinema and Gaming wherever you get your podcasts. Also, check out our YouTube channel. And from there, on either YouTube channel, you can check out Collateral Let's Play. Bo, we should be pumping out some more Phoenix Wright Wednesday content just as soon as we can record it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we didn't really get a chance to record any this last week, but we should be able to get back to it.
But
so,
yeah, we'll get back into it and hopefully have something in December. We'll have some kind of holiday focused Let's Play content for sure. Like I mentioned, Shooter Saturday is going to make a comeback. Well, what was formerly Call of Duty Saturday, and I know for sure I want to do a Let's Play on both Battlefield 6 and Call of Duty Black Ops 7, especially considering I'm not sure if we're going to get around to doing an episode on either of those. So maybe covering those as Let's Plays might be the best course of action. And Metroid Mondays is something I kind of want to do before Metroid Prime 4 comes out. So, we have a lot of ideas for where to carry Collateral Let's Play from here. Even the stuff that, like Phoenix Wright Wednesday, that I have to wait until we can record together. I know there's definitely some stuff I can do on my own. So,
yeah, right on.
So stay tuned for that. You can also support our shows on Patreon, where you can get exclusive content. Either commentaries or Let's Plays. We haven't updated those, but here very soon, I think we might actually start adding some more content. We also do have a merch store on Dashery, and you can find a link to that in the show notes. And we do have a Buy Me a Coffee, too. So plenty of ways to support the show if you would like to. And, I guess that's just about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sounds about right.
But alrighty, with all that being said, I've been Ryan Gosling in Silent Hill.
Oh no! Oh no! And I'm Pyramid Head, I guess. I don't know.
This was Collateral Gaming. We are out.
Laters.
Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.